everyone feel this morning? Good. No better place, no other place I'd rather be than right here, right now. All right. So I grew up not too far from here. Anyone know the Sage Tree Mobile Home Park? R-35, you live there now. I recently Googled it, Sage Tree Village of Manufactured Homes. When I lived there, we just called it the Shady Sage Tree, because that's what was going on there, a lot of shady things. And sort of shaped my worldview, shaped who I thought I could be, thought what I would do in life, shaped who I would become. Although we lived there, my parents allocated the resources in a certain way, so they sent me to a school that was different. I went to a private school, students that didn't necessarily look like me. I'm thinking back right now to a time in 4th grade when a teacher gave us an assignment. Said, go home, figure out 5 things that you want to do, 5 things that you want to be, 5 career choices. Like a diligent student, went home, looked inside my family, looked inside the family of friends. Of course, the news and television was on, and looked around Shady Sage, where I lived, wrote down my career aspirations. Went to school the next day, happy, excited, to share my thoughts. Standing in line as other students went to the podium, I'm hearing things like real estate investor, CIA agent, stockbroker. Thinking to myself, what in the world is a stock? What in the world is a broker? We don't have those career choices, things in my family. When I stepped up to the stage, hello, my name is Jamaal Brown. I'm going to be an athlete, a drug dealer, a gang member, or entertainer. Athlete, drug dealer, gang member, entertainer. Those were the things that I saw in my neighborhood. Those were the things that I saw in my family. Those were the things I saw in the families of my friends. Throughout my life, I put varying levels of energy into each and every one of those things. Thought about being a gang member at one point. Gang member was kind of cool, had some gang members in my family, so I thought they were cool. They told me about how much respect they got. Later I found out that respect was really just fear, and people overcome their fears eventually. So, plus my father had been shot. So I've had a pretty good secondhand view of what a bullet can do to flesh. So I started thinking, this doesn't seem that cool. Then also, I couldn't quite figure out when a gang member isn't killing, what exactly is a gang member doing? Even the most ardent killer takes a kill break every night. You're not just killing 24/7. So when you're not killing, what exactly, I still haven't figured out to this day. So again, after probably I've been shot, I sort of scratched that off the list. I didn't want bullets in my life. Thought about being a drug dealer. I believe the statute of limitations is up, so I'll tell you the drug dealer on my street's name. His name was Dwight, everybody. Dwight. Dwight had the nice car, the booming sound system, the girls, and Dwight used to give me candy. So certainly I thought, being a drug dealer isn't quite that bad of a gig. I was so convinced I was going to be a drug dealer that one day I actually decided to tell my mother my career aspirations. Never forget, it's Sunday morning. Mom's in the kitchen washing dishes, handful of Palmolive soap. We all know that green bottle. Washing dishes. Sit down at the bar stove, Mom, I figured out what I want to do. Matching my energy, said, what? Baby, tell me. I'm going to sell drugs. I thought she was going to, kill me. So I sort of dipped back, thinking that hand was about to come out the water and slap me the next week, but it didn't come. She just kept washing those dishes. Washing dishes about a minute, that minute felt like a year. Then she started humming. That's when I got real scared. Says, baby, I don't think it's going to work out too well for you. I said, why not? After I beat you, I'm calling the cops on you, and you're going to jail. Grand opening, grand closing. My drug career lasted those 4 minutes. 4 minutes right there. Drug career. From that point forward, started playing basketball. Night and day and night played basketball. Going through my list of career aspirations here. I played basketball so much I wasn't known as Jamaal Brown, I was known as Jamaal the basketball player. That's how much basketball I played. Made it my goal to become captain of the team. I switched schools so I could get some more notoriety. Went to Lancaster High School and made it my goal to be captain. I was doing everything. Points, blocks, steals, rebounds, fouls, assists, turnovers, everything. I was doing every possible thing to the max. All was going well, so one day I didn't feel too good. That same loving mother took me to the doctor. They ran a whole host of tests. Ears, nose, eyes, everything head to toe. And the doctor said, Mr. Brown, you have apical hypertrophic myocardiopathy. So can you say that in English, please? You have apical hypertrophic myocardiopathy. The tip of your heart, Mr. Brown, is about 2 times thicker than it should be. Like, I don't care about that. I have a game against AV next week. So no, Mr. Brown, I've scheduled a heart surgery for next week. 14-year-old heart surgery. I literally went from a basketball court to an operating table, age of 14. Woke up from surgery, room full of doctors, parents, all looking at me a little sad. First words out of my mouth, when can I play basketball again? Doctor explained to me, the surgery didn't quite go as we expected. There's no medicine, no additional surgery, nothing we can do. I will never sign the waiver, Mr. Brown, for you to play basketball again. As you can imagine, that would be hurtful to anyone at any age, let alone a 14-year-old, let alone someone who now my entire worldview, everything I thought that I could be, everything I thought that I could become was now gone. I was depressed, dejected, but after a while, I realized if I can look up, then I can get up. After a while, I realized that the sun comes out each and every day, and I can rise. I can go closer to becoming something different, further away from where I was yesterday towards something else. I realized that there was something wrong with my heart, but there was nothing wrong with my brain. And with more time on my hands, I began picking up books. Started picking up books on Marcus Garvey. Started picking up books on Cesar Chavez. Started picking up books on the pyramids and the Nile and the pyramids of Mexico and all of these wonderful things. And something happened inside of me. Seeing myself positively reflected in world history lit a fire inside of me. At that time, I began asking myself the same question I ask myself every single morning as I rise. What will be my legacy and how will the world know me? What will be my legacy and how will the world know me? How can I make my ancestors, how can I make my family members who come before me proud? And that's what I do each and every day. Inspired by those events, inspired by seeing myself positively reflected, I began putting the same energy I used to use on the basketball court in the field of education. I went on to become Lancaster High School's first ever African-American valedictorian. I was accepted to 8 universities, got about $50,000 in scholarships. Truly, I began closing some equity gaps in my family, closing some equity gaps in my community by seeing myself positively reflected, understanding that I had greatness that lived inside of me. I'm going to show a few photos here. Thank you. It's all about equity. Those of you here, I imagine that you are interested in having your children navigate the road to the university. And so we're going to talk about, again, closing some equity gaps and doing some good things. Here's a picture of me. I just like this picture, one of my favorite pictures. I'm proud about it. Nice suit, tailored suit, and all that good stuff, right? But this is the day that young man from Sage Tree Mobile Home Park received a presidential award from the Obama White House. Received an award for volunteer service in the field of education. The work that I do with the calendars, the work that I do with the Knowledge Bowl has been, again, recognized around the country at this point, and again, received an award there. And then I started doing some pretty cool stuff. Those same places that I read about when I started my awakening, my becoming conscious of the worldview, and understanding the world truly is a large place but a small place at the same time. And also, it didn't hurt that I didn't have any debt when after I graduated from college, because again, I had full academic scholarship. I got to go and see firsthand some of those places I saw in those books. So I traveled to Egypt. There I spent 15 days on an educational tour, went inside 3 different pyramids, went to over 15 different sites, temples, museums, still a bottle of Nile water on my fireplace at home right now. And as I mentioned, I not only read about Africa, but I read about South America as well, Mesoamerica, and how black and brown folks have gotten along and did some cool things together for a very, very long time. And so I wanted to go check out the pyramids of Mexico as well, these Olmec heads as well. Again, education, enlightenment, exposure, seeing the world with me in it as a positive contributor has, again, boosted me in a way that is truly, truly phenomenal, if I say so myself. It was at a presidential award. Wanted to make sure you guys, leave. Wanted to make sure, you guys found out. Thanks. Some of those places, some of y'all might have thought, you kind of maybe just right-click, save as on some of those pictures, some Photoshop, copy something up. No Photoshop there as well. Again, this was me. And the diameter of my vision, the diameter of my exposure, circumscribed the circumference of my thinking. I'll say that one more time. That's a good line right there. If you want to take a note, you might want to write that down. The diameter of my vision circumscribed the circumference of my possibilities. What does that mean? Well, some big words. What are you saying? It means exposure The things I was exposed to determined my vision and my possibilities that I thought I had for myself. Athlete, drug dealer, gamer manager, that's what I was exposed to. That's what I thought I could do. Once I began picking up books, once I began learning more about the world around me, those things were still there, don't get me wrong. My eyes were true, my vision was true, I still saw those things. However, I saw so many more possibilities for myself and others around me. My diameter was increased, and therefore my circumference of the possibilities and the things I could do increased as well. Expose your children to as many things as you can. Show them a different world, a different way, a different thought. And the things that they can begin thinking about themselves are increased. I want to give you some practical tips and tricks. I don't know if any of you are like me. I go to seminars, I go to conferences, I go to all these places. They give you all these great things. You feel all hyped up, you feel good. You go home and think, I need like $2 million to do half the stuff they said. I need a whole bunch of money to do that stuff. Everything that I'm going to talk about today is very practical, very actual. Things that I did, things that you can begin doing today. It doesn't cost a dime. Some things you can begin teaching and telling your young people. Number one thing, go to class. Go to class. I've had the wonderful fortune of working at an elementary school, high school, now I work at college at this point. So I've seen sort of the gamut of education. I've seen some of the challenges and things that some people are faced with. The number one thing is go to class. It's just so simple. It shouldn't even be up here, but I see parents who sometimes coddle their children. Oh, little Johnny has a tummy ache. He says he has a headache. Let's go ahead and let him stay home today. Huh? That doesn't quite make sense to me. Go to class. Without a doubt, attendance equals achievement. Just on the most practical level. The day that you miss could be the day where that teacher provides that metaphor, that simile, that analogy, that's something that sparks your mind and gives you that information that is going to be on the test, or sparks your mind and gives you that inspiration that's going to help you in unimaginable ways for the rest of your entire life. Attendance equals achievement. The teacher could say, this is going to be on the test. This is going to be on the test. And if you're not there, you just got that point wrong right there. You got that question wrong. So again, attendance equals achievement. Let's not forget that. Additionally, again, things you can start doing today. Encourage your students to ask questions. I'm a parent. My son's right here. He's 15 years old. He used to ask a lot of questions. Now it's just kind of one-word stuff. Hey, how was school yesterday? Did you ask any questions today? Did you learn anything? What's something that you agreed with today? What is something that you disagreed? So again, asking open-ended questions. Questions you can't just answer with one word. So how was your day? Good, yeah, fine. No. What is something that you agreed with today? What's something that you disagreed with today? What's something that you learned today that you didn't know yesterday? Again, asking those open-ended questions are things that, again, you cannot get shut off real quick. Those rides home go, the whole ride home with conversation as opposed to just a 2-second conversation. Yeah, fine, yeah, good. But again, encourage your students to ask questions. Develop well-thought-out questions is something I encourage my son to do. People say that there's no dumb question. Slightly disagree with that. I don't know what you all were expecting. I don't know what was in the brochure about me, but I'm not going to give you this the traditional stuff. I am a little different in my thinking, right? There are some dumb questions, in my opinion. But what I'm trying to say is, again, encourage your students to maybe reframe their questions. Just have things like this. Teacher, I understand point A about what you said. I understand point C, but point B wasn't quite, I didn't quite get that. Can you rephrase that? Can you say that in a different way? Or could you give me, a different way to better understand? Again, those are more intelligent questions, more thought out questions. And let me give you an example of a dumb question, in my opinion. Again, not trying to offend anyone, but a dumb question is simply the teacher has lectured down for 20 minutes or gave a whole assignment, and you raise your hand and said, what are we talking about today? No, that's not what's going to make the teacher happy. So again, encourage your students to ask well thought out questions. And you got to teach them what a well thought out question is. Take notes. Take notes. I know we have varying grade levels here, but I'm giving you some tips and tricks, practical tips and tricks that your students begin using at whatever age they are, whether they're high school, college, or again, junior high, elementary, whatever age they are. Encourage them to take notes. Take the teacher's notes, take their own notes, write things in their own language so that they can begin understanding. And these are tips and tricks and jewels that I began using. There's some theses that have recently been written about the importance of note-taking, which Dr. John Hamilton was part of his study for his doctorate degree, where it was on taking notes and the power of note-taking. The brain remembers images. The brain remembers repetition, repetition. Again, repetition is the mother of all learning, like they say. And so when you're sitting in class listening, you're not going to retain as much information as those notes being taken. This is an example, for those who may not know, of Cornell Notes. Cornell Notes. If you do not know what Cornell Notes are, it is part of what is known as AVID strategies. Palm Beach School District is an AVID learning, he gave me the term the other day. It's AVID learning district. They do AVID strategies throughout the entire district. If you do not know what Cornell Notes are, I encourage you to Google what Cornell Notes are. There's psychologists and sociologists and all these folks who put together, again, educational strategies. This is one of the winning strategies. We write the essential question. So what are we talking about today? You would sort of write the essential question there. You take your notes here, sort of summarize your notes here, and then you begin asking yourself questions about the notes. Again, this is a way to frame your notes, where you're not just writing random things, random bullets. Again, this is a way to prepare yourself for learning, prepare yourself for retaining information. And they can be colorful. I know a lot of folks like to have their stuff colorful. Again, the brain only remembers images, and so highlight, circle, underline, all those good things are winning strategies for students to be successful inside the classroom and close those achievement gaps and navigate the road to the university. I have this thought here. Review your personal notes and teacher's notes daily. I have this jewel here. This is a Jamaal jewel. You're not going to get this anywhere else. Those of you who made it here, your time will be rewarded with this jewel right here. What I did, or I encourage parents to encourage your students to do, is study your notes daily. Study both the teacher's notes and your own notes daily. Now, people think, Jamaal, you're a valedictorian. You graduated over 4.0. You're super smart. I've never taken an IQ test. I imagine if I take one, I'll probably be about average. But what can't be calculated is my will, my drive, my desire to be great. You can't put that into a test. You can't calculate, again, hours spent. You can, but you can document it, but you can't calculate the willingness to put the hours spent. And you really don't have to put that many hours. If you study your notes daily, give me an example of Jamaal Brown success regimen on how I study. I would study Monday about 40 minutes, study my notes, right? The notes from all my classes, maybe 40 minutes. Tuesday, I would study Tuesday's notes for about 40 minutes. I would study Monday's notes for about 20 minutes. Wednesday, I would study Wednesday's notes for about 40 minutes. Tuesday's notes for about 10 minutes. And Monday's notes for about 5 minutes. And so I've never crammed a day in my life. I've never pulled an all-nighter, high school or college, a day in my life with this method right here. I'm telling you, reviewing your notes daily, preparing for the test every single day. Not hours, minutes. But again, if you do it every single day, that repetition will allow you to be prepared to be successful on that test. You don't have to put in hours. You don't have to cram. You don't have to pull all hours. You don't have to drink, have a coffee IV or nothing like that in order to stay up and be prepared. You don't have to do those things, again, but putting in work daily allows you to get to where you want to go. This perhaps is an advance for your parents, for your students that are in high school and college, navigating the road to the university. Form study groups. Form study, get with other like-minded friends and associates in your class and get together and study. Parents can have play dates where their students get together and study, go over the material prior to the test and what have you. This one kind of goes with the first one a little bit. Reduce distractions. Jamaal and John might be best friends, but maybe Jamaal and John shouldn't sit next to each other in class. If we're not going to bring the best out of each other, parents as advocates for your children, go to the class and say, hey, their cousin is in the class, their friend is in the class. And I just don't think that there's the best that they sit next to each other in class. Hang out on the playground, hang out on the weekends, all of those things may be great. But again, having them perhaps being together in class might not be the same thing. It might not be the best thing. Reduce distractions. When I studied, it wasn't study and TV time. It wasn't study in cell phone time. It wasn't study in Facebook. But when I studied, block out that time where it's just studying. That's what I encourage my son to do. Go ahead and put the phone on top of the refrigerator, son. While you got your notes out. Go ahead and put the phone. Just give it to me. How about that? And I'll go ahead and hold on to that. You blocked out this 40-minute block. I'll go ahead and hold it. I'll respond to your text. How about that? No, that's going to get a heart attack. Might get a heart attack when you say that. So they might not want to do that. But again, reduce distractions when it comes to in class. Reduce distractions when it comes to out of class and studying, as well as a Jamaal jewel that we got here. Might be a little too advanced for those in elementary class, but look for honors and AP classes once you're in the high school level. Even now, if your child is getting done with their work early that's when sort of that little voice tells them to go ahead and, snatch the girls next to them, paper off her desk, or break a pencil or something. Then they get in trouble, then they're in the office, referrals, all that good stuff. So you can encourage your child, encourage your teacher, have that talk with your teacher, say, hey, if you get done, if my child gets done with their work, allow them to maybe do some additional work. Maybe next week's work, or perhaps the grade above his work. I don't think teachers will have an issue with that. What do you think, Mr. Brown? It's winning strategy. Again, reduce distraction, reduce those referrals to the office, and get those young people are occupied with things inside the classroom. Move forward here. This is a big one for a lot of people. The gentleman over here said, I don't need that. I don't need those. That's stone cold. If you don't need the cold, so you can give it to me, sir. I appreciate it. I'll help you out. I want to help you watch the calories, whatever your regimen is. I got you. But no, develop proper nutrition and sleep habits. It's amazing to me. When I used to work at the elementary school, I'd see kids walking into school yawning. Walking into school wiping out, like, you just woke up, why are you yawning? Like, what is going on? And then I talk, get to talk to some of the parents. Oh, yeah, it was a late night for us. Well, it's the same thing you said last time. Well, we were watching, Love and Hip Hop. And wait, why is it a kid watching Love and Hip Hop anyway? First of all, that's a problem. But I'm not going to tell you how to be a parent, but I will say, again, the young child needs the energy. Her battery needs to be recharged. And it's recharged through sleep. It's recharged through proper nutrition. Takis for breakfast isn't exactly, Takis anytime really isn't a good idea. Takis for breakfast. See some kids with like permanent just red on their fingers, like what is wrong with these fingers? Oh yeah, it's Takis, flaming hot Doritos. What is going on to his intestines? Nutrition, sleep, recharge that battery. You cannot be optimal. All the strategies I'm giving you right now are nullified, null and void, if you do not recharge that child's battery. Give them good food, give them rest. So some parents, you have to start altering some of our behaviors. You might not need to be up watching Love and Hip Hop reruns until, the TV watches you as you fall asleep. No, you might want to put the TV on sleep timer and what have you so that you can begin modeling the behaviors you want to see your child manifest. Some of you all thinking, Mr. Brown came here to learn some strategies for my child. Don't tell me how to live my life. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm just giving you some practical, actual tips and tricks on how to successfully navigate the road to university. Here are some things, again, that you can begin encouraging your child to do high school years, and perhaps you yourself can begin doing some of these things in order to best position yourself to navigate the road to the university. Volunteer. Again, going back to that whole idea of the diameter of your thinking, circumscribing the circumference of your being. When you volunteer, you get different experiences. You build what's in education known as schema, just the sort of things that you're exposed to, the things that you've seen, the things that you interact with, can begin to grow, begin to expand once you begin volunteering. Where do I volunteer, Mr. Brown? A number of places you can begin volunteering. Library, after school at your child's school. I don't think there's any teacher that would turn down a little extra help, turn down a little extra cleaning of the classroom and organizing of things. Yeah, a few teachers former teachers in the room, they prepared, went through the process, prepared all that good stuff, and said, hey, I want to help you organize your room at the end of every day, or 3 times a week. Any teachers, would you turn that down? Any teachers? Absolutely not, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And again, you begin to develop those relationships, to begin to develop those networking opportunities, to begin to develop, again, your child can see you being active and being a part of it, out of the house, and doing positive things for their community, and that would do nothing but read that inside of your child. Hospital. I was a hospital volunteer. We used to call them candy stripers, I think, what have you, right? See a few people shaking their heads for those uniforms that helped out volunteering. Again, one thing I haven't mentioned is this looks phenomenal on those college applications. This looks phenomenal on those college applications and scholarship applications, those hours volunteered. What they want to see, colleges want to see, but things being so competitive, particularly here in California, impacted is the word that they use. It just means a whole bunch of people want what you want too. That's what impacted means, right? One way to differentiate yourself is to have things outside of the classroom, those volunteer hours. It's a wonderful thing. You say, I volunteered 100 hours, 300 hours, 500 hours for my community. Again, that sets you apart. You say you have one child who's going through the application process for college, and they have a 3.3 GPA. Child B has a 3.3 GPA, but has 200 hours of volunteer service. Who do you think that campus is going to look more favorably at? They're going to look at child A, 3.3, pretty good, what have you. But child B with the same GPA, but that child has more of an expanded worldview. That child perhaps knows how to manage their time a little bit better. That child perhaps knows how to come to our campus and do good work for our campus community. So that's the child that they're going to choose. And so, again, look to have your child begin having volunteer hours and do a volunteer service as early as possible. Again, documented, perhaps even undocumented. We have holidays coming up here, feeding the homeless, going to shelters, things of that nature. Again, it builds schema, just makes you a good person, builds up your karma points, all that good stuff, and also, again, some hours you can log for volunteer service as well. Political offices. I actually volunteered for several years at the Assemblyman's office at that time. And again, when it came time for letters of recommendation, I think it looked pretty darn good to have an Assemblyman's letter of recommendation to go with your college application or with that scholarship application. Again, tips and tricks that you can begin using today to best position you for success is what we're offering here. There's no lotions, there's no potions, there's no pills, nothing that's going to get you to where you want to go. Again, work, time, dedication, internal motivation are the things that get you where you want to go. Again, tips and tricks you can begin using today. Encourage a young person to begin participating in clubs and organizations. Participate in clubs and organizations. We're talking about schema. We're talking about worldview. We're talking about expanding that diameter. It's the only thing we're talking about. What clubs and organizations are you talking about, Jamaal? Cultural clubs and organizations is one good place. A study recently came out that said African American children who know more about their history do better in class. Similar studies are being done right now on Latino children and others, but the one that I have on my computer right now says that African American children who see images, who hear stories, who know of people who look like them, who did great things, they do better in class. I'm thinking to myself, they could have just came and asked me. I lived this. I went through this a few years ago. But no, again, some pieces have just been written that proclaim this. They don't know how, they don't know why. There's some things that say that the same region of the brain that deals with self-esteem deals with math. I'm like, how does that even work? I don't know, but it works. I'm not going to question it. Research says it's there, and I know what it worked for me. Self-esteem and math scores go in the same direction. Those microaggressions that we sometimes get in the community, unfortunately sometimes on campuses and things, you're more insulated, more, inoculated, if you will. If someone tells you that you're not smart, you're not pretty, hold on now. My mother tells me that I'm pretty. The books that I read, I see beautiful people who look like me. Again, these are the sort of thoughts and sort of mindset that our children begin to acquire once, again, we expose them to some cultural things. Academic clubs and organizations, math club, science club, engineering clubs, robotics, these are things that have been proven to improve motivation levels, improve test scores, and what have you. And again, you learn so much about team working, team building, learn about being a team player as well as individual, and all these wonderful things you learn with experience, being a part of teams, being a part of clubs, being a part of organizations. Special interest clubs. If you like chess, join a chess club. If you like art, join an art club. All of these things. There's a number of clubs that you can join. If your school doesn't have one, and I definitely know at the high school level, if your school doesn't have one, you can start one. I was the founder of the chess club. I like playing chess. I found out that people who looked like me invented chess. I said, wow, I didn't know that. How come no one told me this? Let me learn how to play chess. There's no chess club at my school. Let me create a chess club. Once again, I look fantastic on high school, college application, college scholarship application, founder of the chess club. I just like playing chess. Showed a little initiative, made it happen, and again, scholarship dollars actually followed that activity. Look for scholarships, again, encourage a young person to look for scholarships even now, whatever grade. As a parent, begin educating yourself on the process. You can begin having an understanding when deadlines are, what the application looks like, what do they ask for, what the heck is a personal statement, what does that even mean? Again, you can begin educating yourself and educating your child on that right now. So how many scholarships have we looked for? Lots. We look for lots, right? Again, we begin preparing our brag sheet. What's a brag sheet? Brag sheet is where you write down all the things that they have been involved in. Because you're going to forget when it comes time to turn in those college applications. You're going to forget that he participated in this, did the volunteering at that. So again, begin writing down all the things that your young person is participating in now. And encourage them to continue that. And again, once you begin the process, and when that time comes for you, begin submitting those things. You already have that brag sheet. Where do I look for scholarships? Around social organizations, Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, fraternities, sororities, fantastic places to begin looking for scholarships. Again, start to join some of these clubs now as parents. Hey, I've been in the Kiwanis for 5 years now. Hey, when it comes time for my kid to get a scholarship, hey, remember me? Remember I was here volunteering all these years? Go ahead and consider my kid for this scholarship. Again, tips and tricks, practical things you can start doing Monday morning in order to best position yourself and your child for success. That's the only thing we're talking about here. Major corporations, fantastic place for scholarships. Jamaal Brown received a McDonald's scholarship. Jamaal Brown received a Boeing scholarship. Jamaal Brown received a Target scholarship. These are corporations that have funds. We spend our money with them anyway. How many Happy Meals have you bought? How many scholarships? How many scholarships have you funded for kids? It only makes sense that you go back to those corporations when it's time for your child to, get a scholarship and say, hey, how about I buy 10,648 Happy Meals? I need some of that money back. Yeah, McDonald's, Target, Boeing are places that offer scholarships. For parents at work, your employer sometimes has scholarships owned solely for the children of employees. That Boeing scholarship I received was as a result. My father worked at Boeing. Another thing, this wasn't even in my presentation to share with you, is that apply. That Boeing scholarship I applied for, I sent it in, followed up, wanted to make sure they got it. They said, yeah, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, we're glad that you got it. You were the second application that we received. Isn't the deadline tomorrow? Yes, so that $1,000 scholarship that I applied for was between me and one other person. That's a coin flip for $1,000. It really isn't a coin flip because my resume, my brag sheet, the things that I had done, set me apart, set me aside, made me a little bit better than that other person. So again, there are thousands, if not millions of dollars that go unclaimed and go back to funders every single year as a result of people just simply not applying for the scholarship. So apply. Gotta really have myself there, but again, employer of the parents oftentimes offer scholarships. How are we looking on time, Brad? Doing okay? Almost wrapping up here. Improve your writing skills. Improve your writing skills. Parents, I'm talking to you now. I'm talking strictly to you. Improve your writing skills. Part of those college applications things, you have to write some stuff. You have to put your information down and what have you. So again, things that you can be doing with your child right now is again improving your writing skills together. I look at it as your child's in school and you're in school too. I want to tell you a story about my fantastic mother. She always comes to hear me speak. She had something else to do. She had to attend a funeral today, actually. So that's the reason why she's not here. But growing up, I thought my mother was the smartest person in the entire world. I want to tell you why. When it came down to checking my homework, she said, baby, show me your homework. I showed it to her. She says, number one, seems pretty good. B, I'm not quite sure. I've been in school a long time, baby. But B, I'm not quite, show me in the book where you got that answer from. I thought she knew everything in the world. But really she was doing simply having me recheck my work, show exactly where I got it from. So now, after a while, I just come to her, look, answer 1 came to page 32. I know your answer. I know you already know all this stuff. I honestly thought this woman, who I didn't know until I got much older, only had a high school diploma. I thought she was PhD, EDD. I thought she had all the degrees. I thought she knew everything about every single subject because she just had that much love for me, had that much pride in me, wanted so much for me that she wanted to check my work, not knowing anything that was on my paper past probably 4th or 5th grade. She didn't know anything that was on there. Smart in other ways, entrepreneur, has had her own daycare for 32 years, could balance a budget, change a diaper, wash everything all at the same time. That takes intelligence. Raise me, obviously, it takes intelligence, patience and stuff. But again, as far as book knowledge, she didn't exactly have, but again, she would simply tell me, where did you find that? Or explain that to me, or show me, take me through your logic, take me through your critical analysis on how you arrived at this answer. So I'm like, what? I don't quite remember that from my age. Well, show me how you got to that. I thought she knew everything. Again, that love, that time, that perseverance. I'm happy to report now she has her associate's degree and is actually working on her bachelor's now at the age of, she'll be 60 in this year. She'll be 60, December 23rd. But again, she's improved her writing skills and all that good stuff. Tour college campuses. Tips and tricks on how to navigate to the university. Go to your university. Most college campuses are open to the public. It's free to walk on the campus. Most college campuses have Office of Outreach and School Relations. You walk in there and say, hey, can I have a map? Can you use someone who's here can give me a tour today? 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. Or they give you a map and you do a self-guided tour. Again, having your child see themselves on that campus, having your child see themselves walking through those halls, walking into a lecture room with 100 seats, no matter what age, that's going to do something to your mind. They're going to say, I see myself here. This is somewhere I want to be. They see the subways and the fast food places on the campus. They go to Cal State Lumley's, have a bowling alley there. That's what actually made me decide to go to Cal State Lumley's. They have a bowling alley there. Like, man, let's go to the bowling alley. I think I bowled 1.5 times the whole 4 years I was there. That bowling alley is what made me decide to go there. I didn't know that bowling alley. Like, that was amazing to me. But again, I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't gone on a college tour. Again, take your kid, regardless of age, on a college tour. Have them walk on the campus. Have them sit in a lecture hall. Have them hear, feel the energy. Colleges have just an energy about them. They have a spirit about them. They have something to them. I can't put my finger on it. There's just something about higher education that's truly, truly phenomenal. And again, have your son, have yourself begin to get addicted to that feeling. Just get that feeling. Again, visit college campus. The luxury of being in Southern California, hop on the 405, not on a Friday, I was on it yesterday. Hop on the 405 on any other day other than Friday and just go down. Again, you get so many colleges within an hour or two. Your SCs, your UCLAs, your Northridges, all those are just right down the way. Of course, we have a community college right here in our neighborhood. Find a mentor. Someone who is at where you're trying to be. Someone who is at where you want your child to be. Connect them. Show them. Someone who's hit their head someplace where you would prefer not to hit your head at. Have someone who has achieved what you are attempting to achieve and have them explain the pitfalls, the disappointments, the pain, the joy, the pleasure, the successes that they had, so you do not have to hit your head or your child's head at the same place. Again, talking to parents and children here with this point here, enrich your life educationally and socially. Jamaal, what does that mean? It's kind of abstract. Again, academic and motivational enrichment. YouTube is a fantastic university at this point. You can learn anything you want to learn on YouTube. Get any level of motivation you want to get on YouTube. There's a bunch of cat videos and dog videos that people find themselves watching for hours and hours, but they got some other good stuff in there too. Again, some motivational stuff, some educational stuff. There's a website called lynda.com. They're not paying me, so I shouldn't really shout them out, but lynda.com, Lynda.com. There's hours upon hours of tutorials on anything you want to learn. You want to learn how to work a camera, you want to learn how to work a camera. You want to learn Photoshop, you want to learn Photoshop. You want to learn math, you want to learn Excel, you want to learn how to put a PowerPoint together. Again, YouTube is a place. Lynda, Lynda.com is a place where you can learn anything that you want to learn. There's no excuse anymore. There's no excuse to have lack. You know, if your house was like my house, we had those old dusty encyclopedias. Drop one on your foot, you think you need to get your foot cut off, you know, it's like, you know, foot amputated. Those things were heavy and dusty. You might get an asthma attack, you know, opening it up, all the dust flying in your face. You don't have to do that anymore. The click of a computer mouse now on your phone while you're waiting in line at McDonald's, giving them all your money. But you're going to get scholarship from them later, right? But while you're waiting in line, you can be looking up, how do I do an Excel spreadsheet? How do I write MLA format? How do I do all these things? There's no excuses any longer. You don't have to have that old dusty encyclopedia anymore. Free stuff, Jamaal, I don't lie. I didn't lie to you. I'm giving you practical, actual, free stuff, no money cost stuff that you can begin doing with your child today to build that schema, to begin to expand the diameter of their thinking and increase the circumference of their understanding. Visit a museum, low to no cost. For those who are on low income, I believe you simply show your benefits card. You get into many of the museums here in Southern California, the beach, the park, all these places, libraries, free. You know, where we live, you can go drive an hour and be on the side of a mountain and seeing snow. We have so many opportunities to expose our children to so many different things, to expand their vision, expand that schema, and it changes their life. Okay, we're almost wrapping up here. Doing all right time? Okay, cool. Some bonus material that I added this morning. Made my computer go crazy, but hey, it all worked out. Just do your best. Encourage you how to do your best. Put your best foot forward. I hear some children say, you know, a C is okay, as long as I pass. Wait, what? No. If you're going to do it, just do it the best you can do it. I've heard some children, well, I know I just have to do 14 of the 20 problems right, if I get all of them right, I get an A. My son used to think like that. My son, if you have to do the test, it's usually 30 minutes to do it. Why finish it in 5 minutes, son? I don't understand. It's not a race, son. Why are you racing? If you don't get any extra points for being the first person. It's not a race. Take your time. Do it the best that you can do it. Again, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, who you never met, paid for you before you even born. You owe her. You owe her. I'm doing your best, son. Do your best in all that you do. Young people, I'm talking to them here, encourage them to create their vision. Affirm their vision. Jamal's affirmation, letting you inside a little bit here. What I tell myself every morning, I look in the mirror. I am love, I am peace, I am power, I am joy, I am stress-free. I'm a 15-year-old, but I'm stress-free. That's not what I see every single day, but that's what I tell myself. That's why I set my intention for that day with that. I am love, I am peace, I am power, I am joy, I am stress-free. I'm sharing my message in a powerful way with campuses and universities all across the planet. Again, these are things, the intention I set every morning as I rise. Make the decision to live your vision. Again, people create a vision. I'm sort of talking to parents here with this one. I moonlight as a photographer. Self-taught. YouTube taught me how to be a photographer, right? And so last year I began shooting youth football games. I go out to youth football games and shoot. I realized one of the most saddest places on the planet. Have you ever been to a youth football game? Why? I'm observant. What I'm hearing from the crowd isn't always just positive reinforcement, isn't encouragement. I'm hearing unfulfilled dreams of parents placed upon their children. That father, who father's he went was this JV high school team, he's up there screaming and yelling and cussing at the kid and all that stuff. I'm like, please allow your child to live their vision. Have talks with your child, expose them to things, get an understanding of what their strengths and weaknesses are, what their interests are, what they want to do with their life. Don't push the fact that you always wanted to be an accountant and you were just a clerk. Well, don't push that on them. Allow your child the opportunity to grow and expand and see and do and experience and fulfill the life that they were placed on the planet to fulfill. Encourage your children to avoid peer pressure. Just because your friend, just because your cousin, just because even me are doing certain things, and don't allow that to shape your narrative, shape the life, the legacy, the thing that you were put on the planet to do. Again, have your children, teach them that they are good enough. Teach them that they are beautiful enough. Teach them that they don't have to follow what everyone else is doing. Again, encourage them to avoid peer pressure. I'm almost wrapping up here. Understand that obstacles are simply opportunities to grow. When I had that heart thing, I could have just laid down and died. Some people get knocked down and you see them again, they're still down. You see them a month later, they're still down. You see them a year later, 2 years later, they're still down. Like, you didn't get up from that yet? Like, the sun has risen so many times. Life is going on. Why are you still down? Encourage your young person. Know that problems are going to arise. Things are going to happen in life. Death happens, sickness happens, illness happens, accidents happen. However, you must overcome. The energy you have inside of you must overcome that situation. The perseverance, the internal motivation. These things must be greater than the obstacle. I'm not saying don't cry. I'm not saying don't be hurt. I'm not saying don't fall down. But again, you must get up from whatever life brings you is the important thing that I see happening. Folks have something bad happen, they just lay down and die. Questions? I'm opening up the floor to questions at this point. Anything about anything. I'll let you in on my affirmations, I'll let you in my son, speeding through tests and stuff like that. As you can see, I'm very transparent. I'll answer any question about anything. Yes, ma'am.
What was the quote you said in the very beginning? I couldn't grab a pen quick enough.
No problem. The diameter. Got me. What is it? Rewind. Right, I got the videotape. Rewind. The diameter of your thinking circumscribes the circumference. Who else was taking notes? All this good stuff. Circumscribes the circumference of your possibilities. So again, you have to see stuff, be exposed to stuff in order to see yourself in that position is the main thought, the main theme that we have in this family.
How would you encourage kids? It's real difficult what do you want to be? So, even with my grandson, and I'm a teacher, it used to change a lot when he was little, and now that he's getting to the end of high school, he doesn't really have any answers, and I'm getting nervous.
Wants to be the video game champion of the universe? Yeah.
I think he wants to stay home with me forever.
Want to stay home with you forever? That's very scary. I'll let my son know that the locks will be changed, you know, whatever. But simply, one thing, we talk about exposure. We do our best to expose them to many things as possible. Give them assignments over the summer. My son goes to the Jamaal Brown Educational Leadership Institute. He writes essays, he does math problems. He has to tell me his vision, what he wants to do, what he wants to become. Research careers. This past summer he researched, he was a freshman, going to the sophomore year, research colleges, understand, show me their acceptance rates, how much it costs to stay on campus, how much it costs to be off campus, average GPA of the incoming class. These are things that take place at the Jamaal Brown Leadership Institute. You can bring your kids, tuition is really low. They will come back changed. But yeah, again, simply have them write out sort of, what they want to see, what they want to do. And I don't take late assignments. I don't take missing work. You want food tonight? Yeah, you have to go ahead and finish the assignment. Yeah. Questions? Yes, sir.
Repeat your formula again. I didn't get it all.
What part?
The whole formula, the diameter of your
My friend over here, she got the diameter of your
thinking.
of your thinking circumscribes the circumference of your possibilities. The diameter of your thinking circumscribes your possibilities, the circumference of your possibilities. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I'm a first grade teacher.
First grade teacher.
And I want to already start planning those things, and I know like one of the things you said is cultural awareness is
Yes, ma'am.
important. So I just want to begin, and having them affirm, my students affirm themselves.
Absolutely.
I do that, and that's because we have to where you launch them.
I love it.
I have them leave the day, but I'm amazing and I'm wonderful.
I love it.
But I want to start them off with something that is, like where they have those good images of people who are more than just
That's right.
athletes and things. So what can I do in the classroom, something simple, for just these 6-year-olds, just to present to them, just to start implanting those skills?
Fantastic question. I'm glad you brought that up. I have here a calendar that's hot off the presses that I created. You mentioned Black 365 and Greenwood Archer Pine a little bit earlier. This is something that's in the 9th year, and the Palmdale School District has done a fantastic job of collaborating, partnering, and all that good stuff, truly living up to that Palmdale promise. There's the African American calendar that highlights an event in history every single day. They can learn about someone every single day. We have in the works a partnership where it's going to be a Latino edition as well. Then look out for that. Brown and others will be looking into that. But here's something, again, finding quotes, finding facts, finding maybe a daily snippet of something on YouTube or something of that nature would be a good place to begin finding those daily affirmations, those daily positive things. I know you mentioned that you end the day with that affirming. I would say, how about reversing it or doing it both? Can you do that perhaps in the beginning of the day as well? Setting the intention for the class. We're going to have a positive day, students. We're going to have an uplifting day. We're going to encourage ourselves. We're going to encourage our neighbors. Again, just those simple seeds that you drop that get watered throughout the day is what I would encourage. Again, having quotations and images in your classroom, and again, starting off like that would be a good idea. Okay. Questions, anything, yes ma'am.
We always have students that have challenges, that have been through traumatic situations,
Absolutely.
or that are in foster care, or that have parents that are incarcerated. And they come to school and they exhibit a lot of behavioral issues. So what would your thoughts be on reaching those kids and getting them back in a positive mindset?
Absolutely. The question for you here was kids that have gone through some traumas, kids that are currently going through traumas, how do we get them to be on track and be happy and productive citizens in our classes and listen to us and don't disrupt their neighbors and don't break pencils, right? That was the question. All right, got it. Love. I honestly believe love conquers everything. Wrapping our arms around them as a community. Having, you already have teacher aides and things like that in your class, but you wrapping your arms around them literally or figuratively. Again, having a whole community, a whole classroom, a whole campus effort in terms of letting our students know that they're valued and they're loved. I find that the biggest thing, particularly in our community, is respect. I had to sort of look at what does respect mean. I sort of went to the dictionary and had to find out. I had to break down its etymology. I've seen so many fights happen over respect. So read, sort of means go back, right? That root read. Inspect deals with spectacle, like seeing. So in essence, what I'm trying to say is that kids want to be seen. That whole respecting, like see me, read, look is what respect really breaks down. Read, look at me again, look again, see me is what I find that kids often act out because they don't feel as if they're being seen, don't feel as if they're being heard, don't feel as if they're being valued. So again, affirming that child, letting them know you are loved, you are appreciated, you are a positive member of our campus and classroom community. We want to hear the best from you today. We need your input. You have something special inside of you that you can contribute to the classroom. You don't have to act out, don't have to act crazy. We see you now. Again, a lot of times kids act out, as you know better than me, they act out because they don't think that they're being seen. A lot of times kids are loud as heck. They don't think they're being heard. You don't have to be that loud. We hear you. We see you. We value you. What you bring to our classroom is necessary. We see you. We love you. We appreciate you. Are some things that I've seen, begin to work and sort of change that dynamic inside that kid. Let them know we see you, we hear you, we value you. Yes, ma'am. Questions? Anything? Yes, sir.
As far as myself, like I hear a lot of stuff where, what do you want to be when you grow up? So one thing I kind of changed as far as the narrative that is be like who you are.
Absolutely.
And then what you do is based on who you are. But within that, like sometimes when you're looking at different things you want to do, not all of them require college.
Absolutely.
How do you, showing go to college, like, but I want to be something else that's maybe just in a 2-year degree or a little tech school or 8 months at whatever this program, like how does that tie in?
Fantastic point. I told my son, you don't have to go to college. It might sound crazy to wrongful educators. Don't burn me at the stake. I said, son, if you become a millionaire, you don't have to go to college. Is that true, son? Yeah. You don't have to go to college. But I tell them, again, you have to look inside yourself, find those qualities, invent something, create something, contribute something to the world that the world has never seen. Make an improvement on something that exists. There's a small thing out there, you might have heard of it, called coding. The next round of millionaires and billionaires and world changers will come through coding, robotics, and what have you. You don't necessarily, you can teach yourself that. Again, start watching those cat videos and those dancing videos, and watch some hour of code. Create a program, create an app. We all have these phones. We're all on them all day, every day. The next round of millionaires and billionaires will come from folks who make an impact with that small device in each and every one of our pockets right here, right now. So again, I'm truly an advocate of that. I don't often say that loudly in a room full of educators, I don't want them to slash my tires or nothing. But no, if you create something the world has never seen, use that energy that's inside of you to contribute something to the world narrative. If you do that, son, I'm happy and excited. And what island should we move to? Just tell me. I have the tax. That's my personal perspective on it. But yeah, education has proven to increase quality of life, and so we go with that. But again, I'm not married necessarily to that thought. Again, encourage my child to look inside themselves, find their characteristics, their qualities, and make an impact that way. I can live in the house.
Do you believe that cultural studies class implemented in like K through 12 would help people of color succeed?
Not even my opinion. The studies are now showing and proving that. Again, I got the thesis, and one out of Yale, one out of Michigan State that says when kids see themselves positively reflected, they do better in class. It's not Jamal's opinion, but again, it is my lived experience. And it wasn't until I saw myself as positively depicted in world history that I began my transformation. And again, that's what my life, my legacy, hopefully is all about. Again, having these knowledge bowls, having these events. Mr. Brown told me earlier that the participation interest seems a little low right now in the knowledge bowl, so I know I have just a few principals and what have you in here. Please connect with Mr. Brown. Let him know that you're interested in having a knowledge bowl. For those who might not know, a knowledge bowl took place in this very room earlier this year, February. This calendar year, last school year, this calendar year. Knowledge Bowl was basically like a Black History Jeopardy, where teams of students get together, they answer 101 questions in Black history. Now we have a Latino edition as well, where students answer 101 questions as a team for prizes, trophies, medals, awards, all this cool stuff. Again, these are ways that we can integrate, again, cultural information, things that might not be in the textbooks into our classroom discussion, the classroom narrative. And again, I appreciate the Palm School District for being committed to having that cultural piece, because again, not our opinions at this point now, the data, the studies now reflect and show that is in fact the case.
Our child actually participated.
Awesome.
2 years ago.
You looked a little familiar. I thought I saw that before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 years ago, and it was wonderful. We have some of those calendars, and actually, we learned quite a bit too.
So it's a great thing that you're doing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You have more participants.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Tell the other families at your schools and what have you. Again, Mr. Brown told me this morning that interest seems a little bit low, so we definitely want to keep that going. Questions, anything. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to know, I have one daughter that goes to a dual language school.
Awesome.
So at this school, there's only a handful of African American children. She's in kindergarten, and for 2 years, she's been called the N-word, you know. And I really want her to pick up this language, and I really know that it's a really good opportunity, but I'm wondering, do you think that it would have a drastic effect on her self-esteem by keeping her at this school? You know, like, do you think that, you know, she doesn't see a lot of her?
Absolutely.
And she's been in kindergarten, I kept her in kindergarten for the second year.
Gotcha.
But the second year, she's been called the N-word, and her self-esteem here.
It's hit a little bit. I understand.
Yeah.
I got called N-word at the school that I went to. Didn't look like the majority of the folks there. First, I would say, Mom, obviously as an advocate, I'm sure you've done this, to have a conversation with the teachers and administrators and say, hey, what can we do? We have Ms. Zulu here in the back who can support this answer. I appreciate you being here. But so again, that A, and then B, I say self-determination, you know, self-reliance. As much as I could at home, be wrapping my arms around, have my walls with images of greatness and, you know, affirm her, who she is, her beauty, her excellence, the lineage, the heritage that she comes from as well. But we can definitely have those conversations with those administrators, say, hey, what can we do?
We got great administrators that deal with it right when it happens.
Right.
And I actually work at the school as well.
Awesome.
But it's just that
It happens.
it happens.
The world we live in, society. It's not
our kids, I don't know, they want to have the long hair, they want to, you know, fit in.
That's right.
And it's just really, it's difficult for me right now, wondering if, you know, it's the right choice.
I hear you again.
But do we run and miss the opportunity to learn this great language? You know what I mean?
In a rhetorical way, what we're going to run to? It's all around. It's the political climate, the social climate, you know. The worst of us sometimes is being brought out. It's everywhere. You know, and so again, the best we can inside of our homes, inside of our spaces, encourage, uplift, affirm, have her join, you know, be around others, again, who look like her and things, play dates and places and, you know, things of that nature. I see some folks over here. Ms. Zulu, did you want to build on that? And then we'll go over here. Ms. Zulu.
I wanted to let this young lady know you just have to be there because you have the right to be there. The way I got involved in Cornell School District was because of my child, Mr. Brown, and Dr. Tony, he ended up having that same young man in the class. And same thing, calling him out of his name because of his skin color. My children are beautiful.
Beautiful black.
Children.
Shining black, diamond black.
So I'm very, very proud of
Absolutely.
them, still is today. But I made it a point to come to the school every single day and talk to the principal, get information for them. Luckily for me, I had someone just like Jamaal that had information. I had a friend that created a Black Inventors Museum. So I had her help me bring the information. Every single class I went through to show them every single day that you're here, thanks to a black person that you're here. If you have shoes, if you walked here, if you crossed the light, all the stuff that we invented that's part of this system, you need to think about me. And I have to change the whole term. They saw my black face every day. And even today, they still see it. This is why I go to every meeting, because I want to see this beautiful brown face everywhere you go. I'm not going anywhere.
I can attest that I see the zoo everywhere. I love and appreciate her.
I just wanted to add to that, it is your right to be there, and dual language is very important. That when Jamaal Brown spoke about how to get in colleges, that dual language is going to help her be a better applicant in the world. We're going to get called the N-word, and that's just the world we live in, and what we can do to fight that is build her self-esteem and emulate positive images and show her positive images of black women. But no, you don't run.
I think you'll be losing out on her experience
Absolutely. Such
And
things you can do now.
And I've also teach my children, it doesn't matter what they look like, you're still their friends. You still find out how you can help that person.
Love it. I love it. We need more of these neighbors here. More Sage, we need more Sage Street representatives.
Got a little bit better.
Got a little bit better. Not that. Okay. That's all I'm saying. I saw that.
Getting
Yeah.
back on what everyone said, which is great. I was in that situation growing up. I went to Greenwood Science Magnet, living in South Central LA. I got bused to a magnet school. And I remember when I got there, there was a kid that called me the N-word. And me learning, the neighborhood I grew up, there was one response, physical. Right, I hit him in the nose, busted his nose. The principal came to my class and suspended me. When I went home to my dad, he didn't spank me that day, but he explained to me the history. He explained to me about Alabama and what those kids had to go to just to go to school because of the color of your skin. And after that, I didn't let it bother me no more because I proved them wrong. That's what you do. You teach your daughter to prove them wrong. To prove them wrong for what they call them. You know, so that's, you don't run. Everybody's right. You never run from the situation. You teach her how to deal with it right now. Because when she's 20, 30, 40, she'll get better and better at it, and then she'll know how to act and how to deal with that. And then teach her kids that way. And that's what we need. We need to educate each other.
And I just wanted to speak on saying, I find it interesting that it will be in a dual immersion situation, and we need to use that as a district, as a learning opportunity, because one thing that people seem to not know is that there are millions of people in this world who speak Spanish, for example, they look just like me. And we've got to really educate people of that as well, because Hispanic doesn't just mean one way, and a lot of people don't know that, and that leads to a lot of conflicts or a lot of ignorance and all of that. So when we're doing our schools, which I would hope every school would eventually be dual immersion, but we also need to make it a reality that, wow, dual immersion incorporates a lot of cultures. There's no way that if my child is going to a dual immersion school, they don't understand that there are people who look just like this in Panama, Colombia, Cuba, Costa Rica. I don't want them to just think that it's when it's World Cup time. That's when you see it. But so it's an important opportunity. And your daughter being there, all of our kids being there, but also teaching that this is, people of all colors are speaking all kind of languages, especially Spanish, but we have a very limited scope. And probably that's where that comes from, with allowing that word to come up and that kind of thinking among really little kids because of ignorance. So we need to also do more to say, wow, when you're learning Spanish, you're learning about people all over the world who speak Spanish, and that is a really wide variety.
Indeed. I saw this hand and this hand. I think we will maybe one more question after, one or two more after the two of you see.
Okay, I just wanted to say also, here in this forum, we can support her, but at a forum like this is where the principals and the educators also need to be informed. Because yes, we can support her, but when she goes to administration should be able to support her. And this is something that she feels that she's not getting. And yes, we can encourage her, we can empower her, we can be here to deal with her, but that should not be when she goes to administration. They need to be taught, the teachers, because they are here to educate our children. They are here to make our children feel safe in that environment. So when that child goes to that school and this mother goes to administration, something should be done.
Okay, let me just say this. The school has really good administration, and they dealt with it as soon as it happened. So as soon as I walked in, they pulled me in office, and they addressed it right away and spoke to the kids, the parents, teachers, all of that. So that was great. Like, I have no problem with administration, but I was just, ready to run.
Well, administration, they said, no, administration working, there's no need for you to run.
Right.
Because no matter where you go, like I said, your child's going to encounter that. So at this point, continue to empower her and let her know that, hey, this is for you.
Right.
Awesome.
And this is part of your destiny.
Kudos to the school. Kudos to the Palmdale School District for having made the voice. Certainly the last one, I'll still be available and around throughout the day, so if you have more questions. But we saw this one, and we'll end with Jim over there. Yes, ma'am.
My thing is that my son experienced racism lately. He's a 10-year-old in 5th grade, and he loves to play basketball. He loves the bright colors. He loves, his friends are color. And he was told, he was just told that he's acting black. And my son, that threw him for a loop because we've never taught him anything that anyone's different from you. And he came home and he said, Mom, he goes, what does black mean? And I said, why do you ask that? He goes, because I'm being told that, and he's in the basketball team next door. I'm being told I'm acting black. And I told him, what do you mean? I said, that doesn't make sense. He goes, because I like basketball and I love, the bright colors and the bright shoes and the Jordans and all this stuff. And I never thought of it in that way. Never did I think of it in that way. And it made me, I was in shock. I didn't know how to react to my child at this point. And then he said, Mom, he goes, I think I just experienced racism today. And that to me was, it hit me really hard to know that my child can't dress or can't have friends of certain or anything that he does, he's going to be told, you can't do this or you can't be a part of this because you're not black or you're not this or you're Hispanic or you're this. And that's a very, very sad situation, but it happens in every race. It happens to every race. And unfortunately, our children experience this, and my son is now thinking, okay, Mom, are these shoes, are they going to tell me this? Mom, and it has faced me in my home a bad situation for us because I don't know how to. So I told my husband, we need to educate our son and have him not mind what those ignorant people tell him. So I just wanted to let you know that it doesn't only happen in the black society, it happens in Hispanic. Every society experiences racism, and yes, racism sucks.
Thank you for sharing. I heard a lot in that statement. I heard your child have the wherewithal and able to say, I think I experienced racism. I feel that some good discussions are going on. You're doing a good job there. My 2 cents, I'm sure everyone would concur. Simply let him know, keep on living. Keep on doing what he's doing. Love who he wants to love. Be friends with who he wants to be friends with. And let's educate those folks and let them know, hey, it's one world, one society, one community. And these are my friends. I get along with them because they're not short-sighted like you. They don't say dumb stuff like you. Whoever said those sorts of things. Yeah. Sorry, last question.
Oh yeah. I just want to say that it's more important. It's important what you call outside of the home, but it's more important what you call it in the home. The home is a sanctuary and a healing balm. Then you'll be okay because the word doesn't define who you are. So if you get that confident support at home, then outside what matters doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Live, love, and affirm all day, every day inside the home. I think we got that message today. Well, again, that's my time. Thank you very much, everyone.